To many, it was a huge blow. Back in November, the Supreme Court said the Office of Fair Trading couldn't carry on its investigation into whether it's fair for banks to charge us for going into the red. At the moment, banks make around £2.6 billion a year from these kinds of charges, which can be up to 35 quid for just one bounced payment. Campaigners at the time were furious.
I, like many people across the country, are saying, where's the justice in this? How can two courts say, yes, these bank charges must be fair, and then we get to the final one and it says, no, they don't need to be?
Many people had a lot riding on the case, feeling they'd been cheated by banks not making things clear. James McGreen had racked up historic charges of up to £35 for each unauthorised overdraft or bounced cheque.
I lost all of it because of the bank charges, because of the state my bank account was in. I was young, I didn't understand what was going on, so yeah, it kind of reset my life back to square one.
And Dawn's Bank stung her for nearly £5,000 in unarranged overdraft charges over 5 years, sometimes for going over her limit by just 2p. She was hoping the OFT's case would help her get that money back.
I was just hoping that the banks couldn't take us for fools anymore. I mean, at the end of the day, they're charging ridiculous amounts of money, and it's always the people that are on low incomes that suffer.
Like 1.2 million people, Dawn's case was frozen 2 years ago when the Office of Fair Trading launched its case, which ended with this.
OFT cannot consider whether, in imposing those charges, the banks are giving fair value for money. It may still be open to the OFT to assess the fairness of the charges by other criteria.
So it did sound like that case might not be the end of this long judicial road. There were other options available to the OFT. Campaigners could have launched their own legal case, a so-called class action, or the OFT could have mounted an entirely new legal challenge. Although it couldn't investigate the value for money of those charges anymore, it could still have looked at whether they're legally unfair. But they've decided not to. The regulator says it believes fundamental changes are necessary to make sure the market works in customers' best interests. Because if they did try to continue their investigation at the moment, the ruling last month means it would have a pretty limited scope and wouldn't really get anywhere. Still, the OFT statement did go on to say,
the OFT nevertheless continues to have significant concerns about the operation of the market for personal current accounts. It believes fundamental changes are still required for the market to work in the best interests of bank customers.
So we still may not have heard the last of this just yet.